الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين محمد وآله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تلهكم أموالكم ولا أولادكم عن ذكر الله ومن يفعل ذلك فأولئك هم الخاسرون صدق الله العلي العظيم. My most respected elders, beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, may the peace, mercy, and the blessings of Almighty Allah descend upon us all. The verse which I have read came to us from Suratul Munafiqeen. It's verse number 9, where Allah is addressing His believing servants. O you who believe, let not your wealth and your children, awlad here would mean your children, your family, let not your wealth nor your children divert you from the remembrance of Allah. وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ, whoever allows such to happen, then those are the ones who will be great losers here in the world and also more so in the hereafter. The verses which came before this one dealt with the hypocrites, their false oaths and their conspiracies against the true believers. Their illegal activities which they performed were based on their excessive love they had for this world. And love for this world, hubbu dunya, is the root of all evil. Love for this world changes the actions and the intentions of very good people. Love for this world makes two real brothers fight for their lifetime. Even though they live in one area, perhaps a little drained, separated in their homes, they don't look at each other, they do not exchange a word to each other. It's some fight for boundary, something. It's all love for the world. It's indeed very unfortunate. We have heard from the commentary of Surah Zilzal, when the earth shall rock to her utmost, shall shake, and the earth throws off all that is inside. Bars of gold and diamonds will be flung out. All sorts of valuables. A person will be made to go and recognize the very thing that he took away from someone unlawfully. And he will hold it and say, this is what I broke relations with my brother, my sister for in the world. They will leave everything right there. No one will want anything. Leave it right there. But they will be made to recognize this is the sole cause for cut of blood relation, kindred in the world. Seek refuge in Allah from that love of the world. Outwardly, those hypocrites claim to be Muslims, so that they might not suffer loss at the hands of the sincere believers, and they might as well share in the spoils of war, in the anfal, the booty. It was all for them materialistic gains, love for the world. But inwardly they did not have the faith to spend their wealth or to make any effort for the upliftment of the deen. When you see a person dipping and spending of his wealth for the propagation of the deen, testify that such a person is indeed a sincere believer. Those people did not even want to spend on the immigrants, the Sahabas. They did not care about helping the poor. For them it was acting and acting throughout. They were not believers. Allah knew that. And so in this particular verse, number 9, He has elected to address the true believers. O you who believe, you do not be like those hypocrites. Forget about the love of the world excessively. Don't become like them. Do not let the love of wealth and your family divert you from the remembrance of Allah. That is what it is in. Seek refuge in Allah from hypocrisy. It's only about acting, and for how long a person will act. Only when there are observers to see you, you will do the act of Islam. And if there is no one to watch you, then it is not being done. That is a very difficult thing to do. One who really believes in Allah, the rain can be falling as much as it can. It can be as chilly and cold. You will throw off that blanket and get to the wuzu area. Perform your wudu and rub your forehead on the ground. Subhanu Rabbiyal A'la. When even no one is watching you. A true believer who performs the prayer even in your business place, in your garden, in your farm, in your home, at some point in time would have a burning desire. Let me go to the headquarters. Let me go and stand shoulder to shoulder with the other servants of Allah. Once, twice, 3 times. And the more sincere you are, the more the desire grows to visit the house of Allah, the Masjid on earth. If that is not happening, question yourself. Don't question other people. You sit, talk to yourself. What is my status? In Hadith, there are believers who have some qualities of hypocrisy. And he stated, alayhi salam, they will continue to have that percentage of nifaq and hypocrisy until such time ayyadaha, when they leave it. There are 4. And basically, the Prophet upon whom be peace mentioned the 4 main qualities of hypocrisy. Idha hadatha kadhaba. When a person speaks, he lies. Even though he tells himself, Okay, a little one here and there, it doesn't matter. That is a sign of hypocrisy. When that person speaks, kadhaba, he tells a lie. When he promises, he breaks the promise. Watch that, how you promise. Not even the little ones. Don't make promises to the small ones. Even though they are not at the age of puberty, your own little children, grandchildren, why should you make a promise to one, I'll buy you a bicycle, when you have no intention to buy that bicycle? Leave that buy-in right there. Do not promise such promises that you cannot fulfill, for it is a clear sign of hypocrisy. When he is entrusted, khana, he acts with disloyalty. وَإِذَا خَاصَمَ فَجَرًا. When he argues, he gets in a little debate, a little quarrel, he uses obscene language. That is a sign of hypocrisy. Believers, we seek refuge in Allah. In Masnoon Du'as you would find where the Rasul upon him be peace used to say, Allahumma tahir qulubana mina nifaq. Oh Allah, you cleanse our hearts from hypocrisy. Wa amalana mina riya. And you purify our actions from show. Do nothing in this world for show. That very thing which is being done for show and for recognition, not only will it be non-rewarding, that very thing will be made a form of disgrace for the doer on the day of judgment. Seek refuge in Allah every day if possible. It's time that we evaluate ourselves before we are being evaluated on that day of mahshar, or right here by others. So Allah has addressed the believers, telling them, do not ever follow in the footsteps of these munafiqeen. He gave the believers a very stern warning. Now there are two major objects in this world that divert a person from the remembrance of Allah, among the countless forms of enjoyments. And the two major things, wealth and children, meaning wealth and family. That is why these two things have been specifically mentioned here. Otherwise, it would refer to just all the enjoyments of the world that are likely to distract one's mind from the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A person may not be wealthy, which means he is not really spending his effort and time in accumulating wealth. He may not be wealthy, and a person also may not be too much family oriented. It doesn't matter, ordinary, not all that to his family, but yet busy, here, there, and no time for the dhikr of Allah, no time for classes, no time for extra visits to the mosque. Something keeps him busy all the time. Not that he is striving for wealth or serving family. Maybe sports, maybe lust, running here, running there, maybe the technology, whatever. Whatever it may be, this particular verse addresses, O you who have Iman, La tulhikum. So a person may not feel comfortable to say, look, well, I am not running wealth, and I am not behind family, so I am not one of the addressees. Anything it might be that keeps you away from remembering Allah, that is being spoken about. Now, concerning the dhikr of Allah, it has been variously mentioned by different commentators. Some said here dhikrullah means the 5 times salah. Well, if we take that into consideration, the 5 times salah, in fact, salah will be the first and foremost to be questioned about on the Day of Judgment. The first to be ordained was prayer. If a person's 5 times salah is in order, most probably such a person will be allowed to enter into the paradise bidun al-hisab, without reckoning. And most probably, if the 5 times salah is correct throughout your lives, not only during a particular season, then most probably with that ihdinas siratal mustaqim in every rakat, all other forms of ibadah will be taken care of. That's it. Some commentators said here, dhikrullah means your zakat or hajj. But Hazrat Hassan Basri mentioned, in this verse, dhikrullah refers to every form of ibadat and every obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. However, they all agree that this is the most comprehensive interpretation and should be followed. Allah is addressing how many people lived and died and went to the great beyond and maybe did not hear this address of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and had the opportunity to ponder over it, where Allah is saying, "O you who recite La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, let not your wealth, let not your family distract you from the obedience of Allah," meaning an dhikrillah, from performing your duty towards Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Love for wealth and children, to some extent, is not bad. You would read other parts of the Quran where Allah encourages His believing servants to be comfortable with what He has blessed them with. What do you think is the meaning of وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ? And as for the bounty of your Lord, hadith, reveal it. The bounty Allah has given to you, don't hide it. Hadith. The word hadith from hadith. What is hadith? A saying. Hadith, reveal it, talk about it. Be thankful, eat, drink, feed others, wear nicely and clothe others, build a nice, comfortable home for your family and shelter others. Nothing is wrong with that. And commentators said being engaged with them, family and wealth to a certain degree, is not only permissible, but it is indeed obligatory. Other verses and ahadith encourage us to be nice and kind to family. In hadith, the best of you, O Muslims, are those who are good towards their family. And if you are to be labeled good towards your family, first and foremost you have to provide for them efficiently, clothe them, feed them, treat them nicely. That's quite in order. But there is a dividing line between permissible and impermissible love. What is the criterion? The Furqan, the criterion is that love should not become so to the extent where it diverts one from the remembrance of Allah, from performing His duties in preparation for the hereafter, in winning the pleasure of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. And this is something we take very lightly. We take it very lightly. In one part of the 30th para, we have been told about a person who will be given his book of deeds from behind his back in his left hand. And the reason mentioned, إِنَّهُ كَانَ فِي أَهْلِهِ مَسْرُورًا. He was too engrossed with his family. On one hand, we have been advised, treat family nicely, take care of them. The best amongst you is he who is good to his family. But not excessively to the extent where you neglect your duties towards the Maker and the Lord of the worlds. Who has blessed a man with a wife and children? Who has given a man a home, a piece of land to enjoy? Who has given him the luxuries that he enjoys in the world? It is Allah. And we enjoy and we utilize it to the fullest, and we forget gratitude to the Creator. That is indeed very fortunate. We used to hear from the elderly ones, anything too sweet gets worms. That's the case of some fruit, sapodilla, a fruit that is loved by very many, but it gets worms very quickly. Too sweet, anything too sweet gets worms. Allah watches who you love more. He blesses you with the provisions of the world. He gives you comfort, He gives you a family, everyone is happy. You sit, you spend time, you enjoy with them, eat, drink, talk, laugh. Allah looks to see whether that will divert you from fulfilling your duties towards Him. He watches and He sees, and He is the one who can bring grief and sadness amidst our happy moments. We got to be wiser than that. Not too much of one thing. Take time for Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. It is said in a narration that Hazrat Yaqub, peace be upon him, one night while he was standing up saying the tahajjud prayer, and obviously that would have been optional for him. While in this prayer, in dedication, addressing his Lord, he heard the snoring of little beloved Yusuf alayhi salam. He had really loved Yusuf very dearly. In prayer, addressing Allah, you heard your little babe snoring. Obviously, if you hear a child snoring, you have no doubt the child is comfortably sleeping. There is no danger. It's not that the child is crying. He was snoring. It happened once, and Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam turned his glance and looked at Yusuf. He took his eyes off from the position where it should have been, where the forehead will come in contact in prostration. Little Yusuf snored again. Yaqub looked at him again. He did it twice and a third time, which meant he diverted his attention from Allah's remembrance while he was communicating with his Lord, and he looked. The moment you look deliberately, you are ready to concentrate on what you have seen. That's the human. So he looked, and that's when Allah said to His angel, "Look at him. He is my friend. He is my devoted servant. Look how at this time he has diverted his attention away from me while he is addressing me." He took his eyes off and he looked at someone else other than me. In Hadith you will find it where Allah said to the angel, "I swear by my honor and my power, I will snatch away out from him that sight. I will take out from him that sight, those eyes which he has used to divert his attention away from me, and the one who caused him to divert his attention, I will separate him from him for a long time. You would read in the commentaries of Quran, if you attend my tafsir class, you would know of this story. It's presently being taught. I invite you to come on Tuesday. You would know that Yaqub alayhi salam was separated from his son Yusuf for 40 years. From the age of 7, Yusuf went missing, and only when Yusuf was at the age of 47, father and son met. All this happened because Yaqub was praying tahajjud, and while he was communicating and addressing his Lord, he heard the snoring of his little beloved Yusuf, and he turned away. Allah looks at that. Who you love more? Take note of it. Take note of it. When we are praying, you would note that every posture in which we are, there is a place in which you fix your eyes. You are in Qiyam, you are standing, your eyes should be focused on the spot where the forehead should go, thereabout. You are in Ruku, you look at the toes. You are in Sajda, you look at the tip of your nose. It doesn't matter what footsteps you hear coming. Do not turn away your glance. It displeases Allah. That is just about turning your glance. And here it was only Yaqub, one individual who was praying individually. He turned away. Could you imagine? You are reading Salah in a congregation, 100 people, 150, 1,000 people, and deliberately you have a phone in your pocket. You have put it there, right? And it's ringing out. Messages are coming. Everyone who hears that, it disturbs them. How do you think it would be when the attention of so many people are being diverted from the remembrance of Allah? You have a phone, you can't switch it off when you stand up to pray Salah. You want to hear the ring of a beloved, you want to hear a text tone of someone, you can't switch off your phone and stop disturbing the congregation. Take note, Allah is ever watchful. Allah is indeed very watchful. You have finished praying the faraz. There are believers who are trying to concentrate on their sunnah and their nafil. You have something to tell a brother, fine, it might be quite urgent. Get up and go outside. Princess Tang ASJA has kept a lovely soft bench outside. Go sit there and talk. Why are you sitting right next to a worshipper and you are whispering? Sometimes your voices echo. You are talking to someone right after Salah when people are trying to concentrate. Allah gives leeway. He gives rope until when He grasps and He holds you and never lets you go. We must take note of it. Allah is addressing, O you who believers, O you who believe, La tulhikum amwalukum wala awladukum an dhikrillah. Let not your wealth and your children, your family, divert you from the remembrance of Allah. وَمَن يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ. Whoever does that, فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. Then such are the ones who will be disappointed. Khasirun, they are going to be losers. When Allah strikes, He strikes harshly. Make tawbah. When we are being reminded, we must repent if we are falling short and beg Allah His forgiveness and correct our actions. That's for me and for you. Allah announces His presence in very many ways. He is great. Throughout the morning, depending where you were hearing the loud clapping of the thunderbolts. Allah is announcing His greatness. Allahu Akbar. The thunder is singing the praises of Allah out of fear. Allah is indeed great. and He can act when He sees it fit. O you who believe, do not allow your wealth and your children to distract you from the remembrance of Allah. Whatever you are doing, wherever you are, there must be a time when you must become concerned about what is happening in the house of Allah. You must be concerned what is happening in the house of Allah, in the Masjid. You belong here. The Jamaat belongs to you. It's the people who make up the Jamaat. Let not weather conditions keep you away from coming out to hear what Allah has revealed in His holy words. Come out to the classes. You love your child so much. Maktab is in progress. You love the child. You love the grandchild. You can't bear to separate from that child for an hour and a half, 2 hours. You want that child to be under your watch all the time. Allah watches who you love more. You love that the Quran be learnt, or you love your child, He asks. These lessons and stories we read in the Quran are there for us to hear, to narrate, to ponder over. Allah said it. These are lessons for us. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Quranil azim wa nafa'ana wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikril hakim.